All right, friends, we back with another video on Jason Blaha, strength and fitness, the diet slave now. He says the recent 100-gram protein meal study. Yes, it was all over YouTube already a week ago. I've seen it. I think it was Sean Baker talked about it. Whatever. Who cares, man? This is just, it's a study, okay? But they already knew. Even though they did the study, they already know about this. This is old news, man. It's already in science. Let's listen to what Blaha has to say, his comment, but whatever.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down, drink some coffee.
Yes, it is you, Jason Blaha. Drinking coffee again, are you? Oh, nice toxic bean soup, yes.
Drink black coffee in the morning. That's how I start my day. And I thought I would chat with you guys and gals about protein. So, this is...
He's going to talk to us about protein, but he's not going to talk to us about animal protein is filled with all the nutrients that you need, the micronutrients that you need to sustain life and be healthy, young, and anti-age and all that. No, it's just a protein. It's nothing else.
we've kind of known for a long time, and there's always a lot of arguments on this about how much protein the human body can absorb in one sitting or one meal. And there was a study done post-lifting done earlier this year, and how do I say this? The study didn't really need to be done at this point because common sense regarding how the human body digests food already answers the question. Like this whole idea that you can only absorb X amount of protein from a given meal is absolutely ludicrous. Okay, it's absolute.
Okay, I'm gonna have to agree with him. I guess he read this study. I mean, the study was out there. There's some literature on it, but it's not a necessity. They're just explaining some things. How, your body, the animal kingdom, how it works, how much they eat, protein, ingesting. They're talking about oxidation. They're talking about how much protein is being oxidized. So, in other words, if it's being oxidized, it isn't being utilized. But in science, they tell you too, you should be getting a flow of amino acids before you come into the gym and after you leave the gym. So you can prevent that open window for breakdown. So you can beat that window so you can build muscle. You understand me? But again, there's other factors that go into it. There's the MND size limit. You got to get over that. And without these nuclei, you can't synthesize protein, so you can't further that MND size domain limit. So there's a lot of other factors that are limiting there. Even if you are getting what they call protein turnover. It's happening right now as you are walking around your home. So yeah, proteins are being broken down because they're damaged. Now, can you imagine if you shut that pathway off and you're in a growth state now? So you're accumulating more of these damaged proteins. You're not allowing them to break down. What could happen if it's in such a prolonged state? I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe you could get a disease. Who the fuck knows, man? It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to say. If you're shutting off something that is a normal process, right? Like autophagy. If you don't sleep for quite a while, right, you get a buildup of these toxins in your brain, your body. What will happen to you? You'll malfunction. You could die. I don't know. It all depends, man. But yeah, as far as protein, as far as I know, snakes and tigers, they eat a lot of protein. And there's less oxidation the more you eat. What I found was when I built my body, I started eating at a buffet. And I would go often to eat as much as I could. And then the rest of the day, I kept eating. I'll go to restaurants and keep eating. I just made sure that I was stuffed and full. I found that there was less oxidation and more building by doing that because it keeps you in an anabolic growth state. That's what happens. So it's not there's there's less oxidation when you're more full with protein and these foods. So whatever. Anyways, let's listen to his rant.
Ludicrous. The human body and our digestion have never worked that way. There was never any indication with anything involving our studies showing sometimes muscle protein synthesis didn't go up further when more was added at the point where they checked it. But they did one where they took 25 grams of protein post-workout and 100 grams of protein post-workout. And here's what they found. The muscle protein synthesis just prolonged longer. Okay, that's it. Eating more protein in one sitting, the anabolic signaling and the muscle protein synthesis just simply prolonged longer, and that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, it does. It does go much longer. That protein synthesis and that anabolic response goes much longer. It's there's very little being oxidized. That's what they realize. And no, meat doesn't sit in your gut for weeks and weeks like some people think. It's rotting and, well, whatever I ate today, it's still digesting next week. No, it's not. It's being digested. Trust me, it's been digested because, remember, all the nutrients and amino acids are in that meat, and so your body is absorbing it. The rest is just a waste product that you shit out.
And I had people in the comments chime in and say, well, the body doesn't have a way to store amino acids, so if you're not giving it...
No, it doesn't have a way to store amino acids, just like water-soluble vitamins. That's why you need to get them to come in and they go out. That's why you need to, like a B12 is a water-soluble vitamin. You need it as much as possible often. And so is vitamin C. It's water-soluble.
Frequent protein feedings. Well, what do you mean?
In other words, fat-soluble vitamins, they store. But water-soluble vitamins, they don't get stored in the human body. But you don't want too much storage of these fat-soluble vitamins. They could become, I guess, toxic. I don't know. Yeah.
What do you mean doesn't store it?
I like Blaha. What do you mean it doesn't store? What do you mean it doesn't store?
Because people are so caught up in what's being stored outside.
It's not an energy source. Your body simply stores fat as an energy source and glycogen in your muscle as an energy source. It doesn't store protein. Is not an energy source.
The gut, that they're not thinking about the size of the GI tract and time frames involved. And it's a cute hypothesis, right? That's what people say, well, you can store fat, you can store glycogen, all this stuff, but there's no place to store amino acids other than muscle. The muscles aren't growing, and we don't want to use that as a reserve. So they're like, if we don't get protein every so many hours, we're just not getting enough. But that's not how the gut works. Okay? It's not how the gut works. There's an enormous pool of amino acids there. That is where you...
That's because amino acids are constantly being broken down. They're being built up and broken down because they're damaged. And so if they damage because of, I don't know, man, oxidative damage, hypoxia, who the hell knows? Whatever is going on there. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, neither is Blaha. But whatever damage is going on there, it's cleaning it out consistently. It's building new proteins and getting rid of the old ones because they're damaged. They're damaged proteins, and so they get rid of these damaged proteins. Like I said, I can't tell you if you're accumulating a whole lot of damaged proteins, what will happen. You understand me? There's no saying. Me personally, I try not to stay in an anabolic growth state too long. It's a short window to build. That's what I try to tell you. It's a short window to build muscle. You need to build muscle fast. You need to build it in a short period of time. Build it as quick and as efficient as possible. You don't want to be hanging around like gym slave, gym bro over here for 35 years lifting a weight and then overfeeding yourself constantly trying to build a muscle, which you're never building a muscle because you're skating uphill. It's always building up and breaking down, building up and breaking down. There's a turnover. And number two, you're not really building any more muscle. That's why you're getting turnover, because you need more nuclei. They synthesize protein, these muscle cells. Without new muscle cells, you can't build more muscles. You understand me? So people constantly coming into the gym thinking they're going to build muscle, but they've never built anything. And they've been there for years. And then they don't even realize that the majority of whatever that puffiness they have is based on glycogen. It's an energy source. They got some fat cells and some sarcoplasmic muscles made from glycogen. They don't even realize what the hell is going on. What are they getting? That's why a protein cannot be stored as an energy source in your muscles, but it can be built through injuries and the progenitor donating its nuclei to those myofibrillars, and then that growth can continue. But again, it's very uncomfortable and painful for people to injure muscle fibers, so they won't do it. Okay, they won't do it. They won't go through that pain threshold. There is a pain threshold that you need to go through to build muscles, and it is accompanied by all kinds of things, okay, which hinders your sport performance if you're a sport person, okay? Restriction of movement, force capacities gone, all this kind of stuff, man, weakness, whatever. So, and then you're in pain for many days as well, moping around, I don't know, for 3-4 days. That is a growth period. You got to focus on growing them, but people, they're just so discouraged from this. In other words, they want to disassociate DOMs with being bad, and all these restrictions and things that are happening to their body when they do get these injuries. They associate it with being something bad, and so they try to run away from that. But that is the only way to further that MND size domain. And protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown to make you anabolic. Like I said, they already knew about this in science. If muscle is going to gain any mass, protein synthesis must exceed that protein breakdown. It's really simple. While it may be common view resistance training as a powerful stimulus for protein synthesis, yeah, it can be. It is also important to recognize that it is a signal for what? Protein breakdown, bro. Get it? So yeah. So you coming into the gym and you're breaking down proteins and then you're rebuilding them. Because if you're not injuring muscles, every time you come to the gym and you're not, let's say, you're not injuring these muscles so you could get the progenitor satellite cell to donate its nuclei to that domain to further this domain, this muscle growth, whatever, then what is the point? You understand me? You're simply a lifting slave. You're lifting for what reason? To replenish broken proteins? So you want to come into the gym like a factory worker, break down proteins, and then restore them, go back home and eat and restore them. Is that it? And get good at lifting these boxes in the gym, or these weights, like these boxes at the factory. That's like what Blaha does.
There's an enormous pool of amino acids.
Why do you think Blaha looks like crap? Look at him in that shirt. He looks like an old, frail, old man. You understand? Wasting away. Sarcopenia.
Acids there. That is where you
He's suffering from sarcopenia.
store it. Okay? And you can only absorb so much protein per hour and amino acids through the intestine. Okay? That is something people forget. But what do you think happens to the various foods you eat? This is why when people get
No, you can absorb a lot, trust me. You just haven't experimented.
silly, they talk about meat's rotting in the gut. No, it's not. It's broken down into amino acids. All right. So let's understand
Yeah, that'll have to agree with him. It's not rotting in your gut. It's being broken down to amino acids. Yeah.
what's happening and why this research it says exactly really what we would expect.
Does anybody know what 25 grams of protein even looks like? Practically nothing. Okay. It's like, I don't know. What is that? It's like an egg. One egg. You know what 100 grams of amino acids is? I'll give you a visual look at what that is, because I put something in my community section a bit ago about meat. So 100 grams is like four eggs. That's what 100 grams looks like of protein. 4 eggs. But remember, it's not just protein. It's filled with these micronutrients and stuff that you need. Okay, so 4 grams. 4 eggs is 100 grams. Now, 450 grams is like a pound of meat. Okay? All right, that 1 pound of meat is 450. So what's a pound of meat? That's like a 1 pound steak. Think about 1 pound steak. What is that? Nothing. That's nothing. Let's say you ate that once a day, one steak. Let's say that's all you ate is meat. You're a meat eater. You eat one steak. Is that sufficient enough for the whole day? One steak? And especially if you fry it, you're killing a lot of the water-soluble vitamins that are in it. If you fry it or you barbecue it or whatever, you kill a lot of it off. Even if you are making it, let's say you make it extra rare. Okay, but you're still killing a lot of it off. And so now you need to eat more meat to compensate for the death of those vitamins because you didn't eat it raw. You didn't eat the food raw. See what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's just, yeah, and the people, they cook their eggs and fry them up and everything. They destroy the water-soluble vitamins that are in there. That's why I try to explain. People don't understand water-soluble, fat-soluble. People are so out to lunch, man. They don't understand why you have to eat meat and eggs and things raw, these animal products raw. So you can get the viability, your body can get that viability a lot faster, quicker. It can absorb these nutrients, and then you wouldn't be so hungry all the time. That's the reason why you're overfed and malnourished. This society is overfed, malnourished, because all this processed food, overfed, malnourished, there isn't any nutrients, they're devoid of it. They even add stuff back because that's the law. They have to fortify everything. After they destroyed it, they have to fortify it. What are they fortifying it with? I don't know. Some synthetic chemicals or something they say are vitamins. I don't know if they're real vitamins or anything in there. I know your body will compensate when you're young, making certain vitamins and minerals, this, that. If it's a necessity, it'll move things around and allocate stuff. But if it has to do that, you're going to age because it accelerates aging. All that kind of stuff accelerates aging because your body is in a defense mode. It's defending itself because it believes it's dying.
If you eat 100 grams of protein, you're just going to get the anabolic signal longer.
In other words, if this whole thing about intermittent fasting and exercise, well, exercise stresses you, so it'll accelerate aging because it turns on defense mechanisms. Now, if you're doing these starvation diets, what happens? Defense mechanisms turn on, and you are accelerated aging, bro. That's what happens.
The 25 grams, well, of course, because you can only absorb so much protein per hour, right? In your gut. And I've seen it something in the range of maybe people suggest 10 grams or something.
No, that's a lie. Oh, I found that way back over 25 years ago when I wanted to build my body. I kept going. I worked out, and then I would go to the buffet. I would do my upper body, then buffet. Do my legs, then buffet, and I would eat for hours. And then the next couple of days, I would still eat at the buffet once or twice or three times, and then I would still eat at restaurants around my area. I would constantly keep eating to be in an anabolic growth state. I was completely full, positive nitrogen balance. Never felt hungry when I woke up in the morning. Just kept wolfing down food like crazy to make sure I was full all the time. But I was younger then, so it's different. You know what I mean? I'm now an older person now. I don't know how my body works differently now. But I'm just saying that's the whole anabolic response. If protein synthesis exceeds this breakdown, let's say you are anabolic, and that catabolic hormone will be shut off. So I found, and through science when I read it, it said that there was less oxidation breakdown. So very minimal, if anything, when you ate that much. Because if a snake could eat an animal, he eats a whole animal. That protein synthesis, that level, it's extended. It's really high. There was less oxidative breakdown, meaning oxidation, meaning catabolized proteins, that these proteins would just be catabolized and flushed out. So what would be the point of eating all that food? No, the point of eating all that food is to shut off the catabolic hormone. That is the whole point. And there will be less proteins being catabolized because the catabolic hormone is being shut off and it is being converted to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. That makes you anabolic. That gives you more strength as well because they're binding with these androgen receptors, and that gives you more abilities or possibility to build muscle. If you're building muscle, if you're getting the progenitor to donate its nuclei so it can synthesize protein and further that domain. Okay, so it's like that. You're going through a repair and a remodeling. Again, that's a very short window to build myofibrillar growth. But again, if you're just a gym goer, you're training frequently or chronic lifter, then you're wasting your time. Okay, there's no point. There's no point doing that. If you keep doing that, you're going to run into health problems and you're going to age yourself because you're going to have a buildup of these these damaged proteins. So going to the gym, these gym goers, these gym slaves, gym lifters, whatever, that's what happens. You're just destroying your health doing that. It's pointless.
Okay. When you consume protein foods, and people get so caught up in this, well, you hit the bloodstream faster, certain ones can hit it really fast. Well, yeah, because they digest quickly and get in there quickly, but it doesn't mean none of them remain. So here's what happens. Yes, you can get certain ones more quickly. When we consume protein, I don't care whether it's steak, whey protein, milk, soybeans, you break down, again, some stuff doesn't absorb well because there's so much fiber stuff and it doesn't fully ever digest it. That's why there's lower bioavailability of some. But it sits in your gut. So you break it down, and the proteins are broken down, all these enzymes and stomach acids, hydrochloric acid in the stomach, break down the protein into amino acids. And it usually just chills. It chills in your gut. Keeping in mind how long your lower intestine and stuff is. It chills in there. Some of the gut biome use it for different things, right? You have a large pool of amino acids, just free amino acids in your GI tract. And yes, you will absorb the overwhelming majority of a high protein meal the same day you eat it, but not all of it. So here's where people go, wait, what? You don't absorb all of it. Some of those amino acids will chill. Yes, you have a pool there, and it can take over 24 hours to clear that entire pool of free amino acids floating around in your gut that your body then absorbs and uses as it needs for different purposes.
They once said that humans ate one meal a day. We ate a bunch of raw meat, and it was usually once a week. We would eat once a week, if anything, at best. Now, I don't know about lions in the wild. How much do they eat? Do they eat an animal every day? No, they don't eat animals every day. They kill an animal, they can go for prolonged periods without eating meat. Very long periods. Yeah. And until that time comes again when they need to eat, they'll kill an animal and then they'll eat. Yeah, they eat in packs usually, right? So, yeah, when they have the opportunity. But they're not eating all the time, these meat eaters. And neither are snakes. See what I mean? They're digesting, that protein is being digested over a long period of time. It's flowing.
Okay. And I think, and when you look at it from that model, this is why some people say it doesn't matter that much. Now, I'm not telling you to eat all your protein in one serving necessarily. And I've had my friend Alan Aragon say, well, I would say that optimal is probably close to 3 or 4 a day, but he'll say probably. Why? We don't really have data on that, and then it's so ambiguous due to digestion rates, absorption rates, the way we just keep an amino acid pool in our stomach.
Nah, there's research on it. They explained it before. I can't find it right now because I read so much stuff, and I went through so many things when it comes to literature. They talk about protein, and then they talk about just these amino acids, getting amino acids into the diet. I think I put in my community section, my old channel, before. I talked about it one time too. The flow of amino acids and then eating solid food. Okay, so yeah, they were talking about that. But yeah, they were talking also. It is important to take in these amino acids before you get into the gym and after you get out of the gym. Okay. Because there is a window for protein breakdown, but you want to beat that window so that you can build mass. So that is one way to build mass on your myofibrillars. But again, they can only get massed up so big. So how do you do that? It's really simple. It's you eat a bunch of whatever, meat, protein. Eat before you go into the gym and eat after you get out of the gym. That is the whole point with energy. Like, for example, you're eating a complex carbohydrate. You eat it before you come in the gym, so there's no breakdown in this glycogen. That way you can build more of these phony glycogen muscles called sarcoplasmic muscles, so that glycogen synthesis exceeds that breakdown. How does it exceed that breakdown? Easy. Go and eat a lot of it before you come in the gym and eat a lot after you leave the gym. Okay, so it's never breaking down, just like the protein part. You can beat that too as well, according to your, I don't know, your exercise regime. Eat protein before you come in the gym and eat it right after you get out of the gym.
Not in our stomach, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm not even going to edit that out. In our gut. That you really just, you have it there. The only downside, people say, well, I could just eat my 200 grams in one sitting, you see I'll be okay. From a muscle growth, probably. But it might not be comfortable. So that's the issue with things like one meal a day and all that stuff. Because people do that and say, well, what you're saying with a lot of this timing, there may not be downsides. There may not be, but it's not comfortable. Okay? To consume all of your food, particularly if you're eating a whole foods diet, if you're eating quality foods instead of a bunch of refined stuff, it can be quite uncomfortable. If you're a high output person who exercises and works out, and your maintenance calories are really high, right? So use me as an example. Even though I do some fasting right now, and I eat my food all the time.
Use Blaha. He does starvation right now too? Oh man, this guy really, it's nuts.
Afternoons and evenings. Like my maintenance is 3,500 calories. Okay.
Your maintenance? You're maintaining something? What are you maintaining exactly? You've got nothing there to maintain. What is he talking about? He hasn't built anything. What is he maintaining?
Do you think I really want to consume 150 grams of protein?
I think people are so confused about this whole maintenance thing and all that. They just are out to lunch, man. Look, you want to know what maintenance is? When they tell you 1 gram of protein per body weight, that is maintenance, okay? That isn't for building muscles, 1 gram per body weight. Okay, say, well, I weigh 200 pounds or something, so I need 200 grams of protein. Do you know what 200 grams of protein looks like? I'm going to tell you what it looks like. 8 eggs. How do you think you're going to eat 8 eggs and then that's it the whole day? Is that what you're filling yourself up with? 8 eggs, 200 grams, 8 eggs. That's for maintenance and everything else and make you satiated, make you feel well, make you feel good. Man, I could eat 8 eggs in the morning in one shot. You understand me? That's nothing. That's nothing for a grown man, a 200-pound man, let's say. 200 grams of protein, 8 eggs. That's absolutely nothing. Yeah.
1,000 calories of sweet potatoes in one meal. Like, does that sound even remotely comfortable?
Sweet potatoes. It's garbage food, man. That's slave food, bro. Yeah, that's just garbage.
Comfortable to your stomach. So that's the problem with some of that. Okay.
Well, sweet potatoes do have a complex carbohydrate in there, so yeah,
And yeah, lots of people have said, okay, but that's what old school guys said in old school bodybuilding and bro science, and so I do my 5 or 6 meals of protein a day. But it's like, do you think?
Yeah, they're telling you to spread the protein out throughout the day. And okay, let me ask you this question again. Why are you have to question everything. Why are you spreading your meals throughout the day, this protein throughout the day, or whatever, your meals throughout the day? You think that's going to make you anabolic? And even if you are anabolic, let's just say, okay, you're anabolic, and so what? Are you building muscle? Are you building muscle? What kind of muscle are you building? Nothing, because you reach an MND size limit. You need the progenitor to donate more nuclei. They synthesize protein. Without them, you can't further that domain. So what is the point? You understand me? This is just stupidity. Oh, then what are you worried about then? Proteins being broken down and building up? Well, your body will tell you, it'll send you a signal, it's hungry now. And then you'll eat because you'll feel hungry. Look, if the body needs something, it runs on instincts. So if it's hungry for nutrients or whatever, it'll direct you towards them, trust me. And it'll keep forcing you to eat food with nutrients until those nutrient stores are filled up again. They need to fill up. And so it'll keep forcing you to eat because you can't figure out why you keep eating. Oh, I'm so hungry still. I'm so hungry. Because you're overfed and undernourished. That's your problem. The food that you're eating. Duh. Man, people never listen to their body anymore. They don't even listen to their instincts, nothing.
That really mattered. So if we go off the data we have, that's purely a matter of personal preference. So someone says, but I did it and I made gains. Okay? But you have no evidence that that's what caused the gains. You made gains because you ate sufficient protein and sufficient food and you trained hard and rested and all that. That's why.
Yeah, they made gains. I'll tell you what the gains were. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy gains. They gained phony muscles, an energy source. It was grabbing it.
You gained muscle, not because you specifically.
Try to do that with just protein alone and get these so-called gains. Why are you eating these carbohydrates? Because that's being stored as an energy source and you're creating these sarcoplasmic phony artificial muscles.
6 protein meals a day. Okay?
No, nobody's just eating 6 protein meals a day. The majority, 95% of the people out there, 90% of the people out there in population are eating a herbivore diet with the protein. So they're eating herbivore diet. They're misconstruing this weight as being muscle. It's crazy.
So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, the data shows pretty much what we really already know. The more protein you eat, the more pull you have available and the longer your body can draw from it. It's very straightforward. It's very...
Yep, I'm going to have to agree with Blaha there. That's for sure. He's right.
Straightforward. It's not a...
Hey, he finally knows something.
about individual meals or sittings. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that.
Thank God. I'll see you in the next one, man. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps with the algorithm. I'll see you in the next one, broski. Ciao, friends.